And speaking of action, we talked about action in the midst of the break. Tell us more about that.
Yeah. I think when I said we added to this, so again, people can come for clinical care, but we have this non-clinical network. So right now we have a peer support program. It's virtual. People can join from anywhere, and it's ran by a trained veteran. So she's a combat veteran, did tours in Afghanistan, just an incredible human being. And she went through a lot of training and a lot of time with military members. She was Army. Runs this group. And what I love about it, especially at times, we're going through a lot, during the holidays where people's just stress levels get higher. We're putting families together that maybe don't all have the same, political leanings. There's the heightened energy that goes on, especially in these months. And so it's just a place and space where people can show up. It's super non-judgmental, but it allows people to come and have that instant connection. So they instantly connect, they decide what they're going to talk about, and then we can bring psychoeducation materials to that. I know that doesn't sound very exciting, but it really is helpful. So if somebody's talking about hey, I'm really struggling with sleep, the group, might be talking about different strategies for sleep, but we would actually go back and create some tools that people could use and then talk about in there for that. But a lot of times it's just, again, that connection. And so every
Yeah.
month we do a training for other veterans who want to come in and be a peer supporter. And so those are physicians that we contract with them. We actually backstop it with a clinician. So we make sure we have clinical oversight, but the group itself is all veterans. And so it
That's
just gives,
awesome.
again, another way for people to get involved. We know veterans always want to give back to their community and feel that sense of purpose sometimes missing once they transition. And so it's a great space for people. It's a great space.
Now, is this flexible, to the veteran who receives this training and then eventually are able to work with you guys? How flexible is it with their schedules, or is it oh, you have to be here at a certain time, or you have to be
Yeah. Yeah. We really, again, if you listen to people, you got to schedule things when people will actually come. So we usually find a core group, and then that group works out the schedule, because it might be from, Pacific time, Eastern time, whatever. But they work out the schedule. And so then we just set it up there. And again, if that person needs a second facilitator, then that's, if that's what the group wants, that's what we'll do. So what I love about it is it really is made for people to be able to attend. We're not going to do it at 10 o'clock in the morning when most people are either at work or, doing what they need to do. So yes, it is. It's flexible, but I think a lot of it gives just people access back to a community that sometimes they feel, especially if they didn't go transition into another military, like a contract or military job,
Yeah.
just that sense of camaraderie, that sense of connection again.
Yeah, I might sign up.
Hey,
So
I might be
that'd
able to help
be,
with that.
yeah, that sounds very amazing, and it's definitely incredible work, and it's very rewarding to know that you making some change, you help with these veterans become very, very much more productive citizens than just staying broken. And no one deserves to be broken and not be able to be productive in our community. We have an incredible country, and we need our incredible young men and women to be back on track. So thank you for what you're doing.
Oh my gosh. No, thank you for highlighting it. That's incredible. And again, it
Yeah.
always means a lot coming from people who've served.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. So as we look forward, what is the vision moving forward? Do you have a particular goal or thing you want to do with your mission moving forward here?
Yeah. So it's growing both. It's kind of both sides of the house. So there's the side of the house, that clinical side. I think one of our visions obviously is to add clinicians, but it's not just clinicians. It's adding people who want to become invested in this community and really become, it's more of a subject matter expert. And I'm going to say that lightly. I use some air quotes when I say that, because I really believe the military member is the subject matter expert that we need to learn from and then respond to. Clinicians need to be more informed, and not from kind of the pop culture references as how we think about
Yeah.
the military, right? So again, when you really listen to what people struggle with, I mean, we spend time, with active duty even now, and things that people are struggling with. A lot of times people are like, oh, it's deployment, it's war. A lot of times it's just day-to-day stuff, right? It's
Yeah.
relationships, it's work, it's like different kind of stressors. And so I think part of it is how do we grow a new generation of clinicians who are informed about the last 20 years, of the last 40 years. But one of my fears is that we're going to have a lot of clinicians who are in school right now who are going to come out and they don't feel connected to this community, especially when we're not in war. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it does fall off. I'm sure you've experienced that. A lot of the patriotism around it just isn't as intense. And so how do we be part of that where we can really give people great experiences, great education, great support, and access to a community where we can continue to pour into them? So I think that is definitely one of our goals. And then on the non-clinical side is continue to champion and hopefully remarket what peer support and the power of it. It does have a marketing problem, but the power of peer support, and both for families. So we do have a peer support for family members that's ran by a military spouse, and build out more veteran support. And so really for places and spaces that people can just come into and get help for as long as they need to. And it might look like they might just show up and not say anything. They might show up and say like, oh, wow, this is something I really want to be involved in. I want to run my own group. But the force multiplier from this is huge, because these are all people who are going to be more invested in mental health, with literacy around mental health practices, and be able to take it out into even other parts of their communities. So it's a faith community, they're into their friends and family. And it matters, as you know, it matters if you are the veteran who is also talking about mental health, because people will be like, oh, wow, that, I mean, you normalize it by just even you saying that you're on your 10-year journey. You've dispelled like 100 myths right there about mental health and men, and men of color and men of color in the military. Like, you have so many layers there that you are bringing people into a conversation that they didn't even know they could. And so that has a huge impact on other people, much more than clinicians, and certainly much more than I.
Thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable with us about, your mission and goals. I think that's very important to know that, like, you definitely on a mission to really not, how can you put it? Get rid of the stigmas, bring in clinicians who get it, and properly get them trained to be able to work with veterans like myself on a continuous basis and be there for them. And then the peer support part of it, like, that is bad, Brandon, but it is what it is. That's what we got to work with for right now. And there's so many different organizations that try to do it that way, and they don't really get the same effect that you get, because I think the biggest driver of it is the fact that, again, I gotta point it out, you're in the trenches, you're married to a veteran, so you walk the walk, you talk the talk. I think that's very important.
That really does mean a lot coming from you. So thank you so much for recognizing that, and really just uplifting the conversation, because I feel like it's gotten a little bit stuck in only one kind of segment of, we talk a lot about veteran suicide, which is completely needs to be highlighted, and it's obviously so concerning, but there's also so much room for other conversations around mental health in our day-to-day lives that, hasn't got to that extreme yet. And so I think that's where we're also trying to live, is like in these day-to-day experiences. So you talking about it, you sharing it with your audience, you having the conversations at home, that's where all the really big work around mental health happens.
Indeed. We thank your husband for sharing this with you. This is, I can't stress enough, this has been an eye-opening conversation. Is there any final words of wisdom for our listeners who are battling trauma or may know someone who is?
I mean, I think that hope is kind of underutilized sometimes, or overused in a word and underutilized, but we really think of that as it's the art and science of it. And so even just you bringing these conversations to life, give people hope that there's something on the other side of this. There is so many communities, so many nonprofits, so many people at the VA, so many brothers and sisters, in the service, who are or out of the service, who want to be that for you. So I always think all it takes is just a little reach out, and you will be amazed at how many people want to be by your side.
Beautiful. So Transformers, if this at all resonated with you, this episode here, I want you to do a couple of things. I want you to hit the like button, subscribe, and let's keep the conversation going in the comments. We will have a link to be able to learn more about Given Hour. Dr. Trina has provided that to me, and I like to share that with you guys. And when I share that with you, make sure you click it and make sure you share it with someone else you may know, or even if you don't know and you happen to see them on Facebook, like, hey, check out this link. Well, let's keep the conversation going, especially in the comments section. What's one thing you will do today to support your own mental health or reach out to a veteran in need? And remember, you're not alone in this journey. Many peace, blessings, and lots of love. I'm Marcus.
I stand for what you stand for. I'm at your door like the landlord. I can see the future, yeah, I fast forward. I get on the mic and I transform. Follow me, I'm in rare form. Follow me on this world tour, the asteroid that you can't avoid.